Hello, I am Tamima and this is Real Talk. Tonight we get candid on celibacy and the reality of the wait in today's day and age. My guests are saying, I'm a virgin and proud. Welcome to the show. So my first guest on the show tonight is Rehab Nganga. Rehab is 35 years old and she has been walking her talk. Rehab, welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you.
So 35 years old in modern Kenya.
Yes.
And you're a virgin.
Yes.
So maybe put that into perspective for us. When did you make the decision that you're going to wait for marriage?
For me, it's been a journey. Having been brought up in a Christian background, my mom was very hard on us. And she wanted us to grow up. I've been brought up in a family of girls. She wanted us to grow up in the right way. Yeah, so she introduced us to church when we were very young. So I've grown up in church when I was very young. So at my early age, that is in primary school and high school, I decided to wait, not because I knew the dangers of waiting, the benefits of waiting or the dangers of not waiting. For me, it was about, one, being brought up in a Christian family. So you go to church, there are groups for girls, there are youth camps where you are taught about waiting. But I think in primary school and high school, for me we were told that if you play around with boys, you get pregnant.
Right.
And when you get pregnant, you drop out of school. And having born and brought up in a very humble background, I knew the only thing that can help me is education. So anything that could make me stop education was a no-go zone for me.
What about now in your adulthood?
Yes.
When now you're a bit more grown up, perhaps your 20s. Did you ever date?
I think the value of waiting was instilled to me in high school when I came to know the Lord. Just before I joined campus, I had a relationship, which we dated for around 2.5 years, but it didn't work. Yeah, in my 20s, I then had another relationship, still in my 20s, but it didn't work.
So do you feel like sometimes the reason the relationships fail is because of your stance, saying that you will wait?
One thing I can clarify, being a Christian, I've dated Christian men who still believe that sex before marriage is a sin. So we share that value. However, it's one thing to know and it's one thing to do it. Especially in my first relationship was a bit hard because my boyfriend believed sex before marriage is a sin, but we can do anything else. The whole question of how far is too far. I think for me, because of my upbringing, my boundaries were very close, and for him was too far. So we couldn't agree how far is too far.
And currently, are you dating?
No, I may not.
So generally, when you meet men and you tell them that you are a 35-year-old virgin, what is the reaction?
It depends with which kind of men.
Right.
Church men, they appreciate that.
Right.
As all people who believe in Jesus, they appreciate that. Our society today, they don't believe it. So they'll say, you're just talking. It's not true. And others are asking, at this age, oh,
so now it's like you've been rejected. It's
Yes.
it's not a value anymore.
It's no longer a value.
It's like there's something wrong with Rehab.
Yeah, others will tell me you need to try, you need to practice. It's a non-negotiable thing. So we'll talk on how can we sustain it? How can we make it in this journey?
I want to introduce my next guest, Daphne Kabeberi. Daphne is 27 years old, and like Rehab, Daphne is also a virgin. Welcome to the show, Daphne. So you're 27 and you are still a virgin. So at what point did you make the decision that I will wait?
So similarly to Rehab, I was brought up Christian, but I don't think necessarily a Christian upbringing can hold you in the faith.
Right.
The fact is that I do know Jesus personally for myself. And in the walk, there just came a time, like the time when I decided I actually do want to follow Christ. So the time when he called me unto himself. When you read the Bible, it's very, very clear the kind of stipulations God gives for believers. And I was convinced in his word that God knows the best thing for me. So I can't say that I have remained a virgin out of pain or desperation or lack of opportunity, but it's the fact that I know that God has said that that sex is for marriage, and so I'm going to wait. If ever I get married, that is the time then I would give up my virginity.
Have you ever at any one point in your life felt pressured because of the choice that you've made to be a virgin?
Interestingly, no, not really. In university, I'd see people around me sleeping around, and I've never desired that kind of lifestyle. Like, I never looked and thought, I want to be that chick. Because the heart that comes with it, the pain, the confusion, the stress running for P2s in the morning, like, there's no time I ever thought, yeah, that's the life I desire. And it's also helpful that my friends, many of my friends are also virgins, so it's not even a strange thing to me, actually. In fact, it's only here that people are like, that's so odd. I'm like, really? Because the friends that I have, many are in their late 20s and virgins because they're not yet married. So the pressure has actually possibly been towards remaining a virgin.
If I had to ask you, have you dated?
Yeah, I have.
So how do the relationships work for you?
Well, just like I said, since I believe that sex is within the commitment of marriage, that's one man and one woman committing to each other for life, then dating relationships would just involve getting to know each other, but there's no need necessarily for a physical relationship. And I think the reality is that once you say no once, then you say no twice. It actually becomes very easy to say no over and over again.
Before you get into a relationship with a guy, you have to make sure that first his values are aligned to yours.
So I've only ever dated Christians, or at least people who claims to be Christian, because then like, if I'm dating, it's because I'm thinking maybe I could be married to this person, and I'd only ever marry somebody, as you said, with the same values as I have. So they'd be Christians and they would believe the same thing that sex is for marriage.
And maybe, Alia, just to touch on a bit of what Rehab said, where she said sometimes walking the talk is very difficult, and especially with guys. Like, she struggled with a guy, like she told us, his idea of how far they could go was very different from hers. So have you had a similar experience whereby maybe you met a guy, at the beginning he's like, oh, I'm all for it, I get where you're coming from, but when you find yourself in the relationship and as you guys get to know each other more, then it's kind of like the guy now expects you to change your mind and sort of like succumb to the moment?
I think it could be the guy. It could also be me, because I'm still human. I have flesh and I have to battle against my flesh. But there are very simple things you do, like, I just will not be alone with you. And in Kenya, there's no way that I can end up having sex on the street. So as long as I am only ever in public areas with somebody, that immediately just cuts out lots of the levels of temptation that could come.
So that's how you deal with it for yourself?
Exactly.
You don't allow yourself to be in that situation where it even gets to be a question of should we or should we not?
Because I'm still human. So I have the Holy Spirit in me, but I'm still battling against my flesh, the sinful nature in me every day. It's not easy, and I have to have I have to have friends around me to support me, and I have to always come back to God's word, come back to prayer, and do practical things. Like, I just will not, just the things you're told in, I don't know if it's home science or class 7, do not be alone with a boy in a dark area. Simple. Follow those things.
My next guest is Samson. He's 28 years old, a student, and he's also a virgin. So Samson, welcome to the show. Samson, maybe tell us, for you, when was that moment when you knew that it's one thing to be told, don't have sex before marriage, but it's another thing to make the choice as an individual, and especially as a man in this day and age, and for you to decide that, hey, you know what, I'm going to wait until marriage?
It started when I was in primary school. My teacher used to emphasize on the importance of waiting for the right girl and knowing that before you do anything, you're supposed to count what is good and what is bad.
I can imagine probably society is less judgmental to women when they say I'm a virgin. And for you as a guy, when you tell your fellow friends that I'm a virgin, how do they respond?
For me, I try to associate with friends who are Christian, who can share the same mind I have, and who can approve some of the decision I make.
And now, in your case, Samson, have you ever dated?
Not yet.
You've never had a girlfriend?
Not yet.
Ever?
Not yet.
Why do you think that is? Is it that you've never wanted to have one, or perhaps you've never met somebody who you thought you could be that intimate with?
I chose first to finish my school, and also I've not yet found that right person, but it's because I'm still studying, and I don't want to rush into making decision that will make me make the wrong decision. I hate seeing ladies, heartbreaking ladies. It's not good.
Okay. So what are you looking for as Samson when the time comes?
I'm looking forward to finding the right person.
So I just want to pose it to my audience. So do you think that society is less judgmental when a woman is a virgin than when a man is a virgin? Clap if you agree that it's more shocking to find a 28-year-old man who's a virgin. My next guest is Leroy Marcella, who is 22 years old, a civil engineering student. So he says he's had a strict upbringing, and from his faith, he's actually like Samson, never had a girlfriend. Welcome to the show, Leroy.
Thank you.
So you had Samson talking. He's obviously way older than you, 28, and you are 23 years old. So probably tell us, when did you make the decision and actually say, I'm going to stay firm in being focused, and I'm not going to have sex, I'm not interested in having a girlfriend right now? When was that moment for you?
For me, it's like everyone else who has come before me. They're like my mentors. When I found my faith, yeah, and so that's when I really made that decision. And what has kept me going is that I would like to be happy with someone else, like a good relationship. And so I think one of the steps to having a good relationship is that waiting period makes it something special.
Do you ever get pressured by your age mates, especially being in campus today in 2018?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So what sort of pressure comes your way?
It's mostly the talk that goes around. Today, where we're going? Yeah, we have to go out, something like that. Some friends, classmates might be like, "Yo, Leroy, we'd never see you with us during gigs and stuff," and so that kind of pressure.
And what about, is it a choice that you've never had a girlfriend? Because I'm sure if I talk to a lot of your age mates in this room, some of them are going on girlfriend number 10, you know, next week they're probably dating number 11. So how are you able to stay firm in your resolve?
Mostly it's on faith and the decision to focus on what, for now, I think would matter to me in life. And that's building career, my future, so that by the time I'm having someone else in my life, they find at least I have some foundation, I'm stable, I can take care of them also. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Right now I want to introduce one of our experts tonight. We have Diane Masinde in studio with us. Diane is a practicing counselor, and his area of expertise is actually in relationships. So Diane, as a man, why do you feel like there is undue pressure, especially on the boy child, for a boy child to actually come and say, I'm a 28-year-old virgin?
Yeah, I think what's going on, I can actually even tell with the audience, when Samson stood up, oh my goodness, there was uproar. How now? Mwanaume mzima kama yeye, I could hear even some voices in the background like, you know? So, because that's how, the number one organ that a man is very, very conscious about is what is between his legs. That's the number one thing that is very, very conscious for a man. And that's why men compete when it comes to size. If you want to make fun of your man, it's the size. And then men also look at body count. How many ladies have you slept with? So that's the kind of thing that a lot of men are actually wired or thinking that they're meant to be like that. But it's not true. And your body is your personal responsibility. No one should tell you what to do with it. If you want to keep it until the right one, it is your decision. If you mess up your body, that's on you.
Remember, you can join the conversation via the hashtag #RealTalkWithTamima. Tonight, we are spotlighting celibacy and the reality of the wait. You've had my guests sharing their stories. And if I'm being candid, the reason that we are talking about this subject tonight is simply because you know that the schools are closed, young ones are home from school, and they have 2 whole months at home. So we are trying to talk to some young man out there, talk to a young woman out there, just to know that, you know what? Don't feel like if you've made the choice to wait, you are weird, you're a stranger. And that's why we're showing you examples of people, even late into their adulthood, they're still holding firm to their values. And what we are saying is that it's okay. Well, right now, we're going to be taking a very quick break. When we come back, still more to come here for you on Real Talk.